Hey everybody, JJ here, back with another Saturday edition of Zoom Networking. Today we are really honored to have an unbelievable guy on as our guest speaker today. This young man is one of the most renowned social media people in the country as far as websites, website design, marketing. Just knows, I want to say knows everything about everything, but I love this guy, Bob McIntosh. Bob, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on, JJ, and thanks everyone for being here. Appreciate all of you guys taking the time on a Saturday to stop in and listen.
Oh, brother, it's always good to see you. And hey, I got the Rams jersey on, brother. I'm going to be wearing this when you and I go to that Buffalo Bills game here at SoFi Stadium.
I'll be wearing the Bills gear. Got to represent the Buffalo.
That sounds great, brother. It's going to be so good to hang out with you again. Real estate's about relationships, not just a business aspect. I say it all the time. Don't chase the deal, chase a relationship. Build relationships with those people that are out there, you guys, because that's what's going to make your business even stronger. If you focus just on the relation, just on the deal, people are going to see that you don't care about them. You don't give a rat's ass about them, and that's not how you build your business. But Bob, let me just chat for a minute before we get into your presentation today. You've got your own company, 3 Degrees Consulting. How did you get into that, or what did you do before you got into this aspect of your business, or before you got into real estate?
Absolutely. So I started along with my dad flipping houses. Actually, we started by buying a rental. I had about 10 grand left from college, courtesy of my family. And instead of going on a crazy trip or doing something stupid with it, I bought a rental property. And I was like, well, this is awesome, but I need more. And that was sort of the journey into real estate. My dad and I started flipping houses in 2008, and we've been doing it ever since then. So I've been doing it for quite some time, joined Fortune Builders. But the hard part for us was we did everything in Buffalo, New York, which is where I was born and raised and where my parents still lived and still live right now until about 3 weeks from now when they're moving to Florida. But I was in Los Angeles, and I said, well, how can I be useful in LA? Like, how do I be useful from 3,000 miles away? And so I got very good at raising money, and I got very good at internet marketing, specifically social media, SEO, websites, and all of that. And so right now, to date, we look at our company, about 35% of all of our leads come from online sources, being either SEO, social media, things of that nature, is almost about 35%. So a significant chunk comes from exactly what I'm going to teach you guys about today. And the cool thing is, if we look at the last, 14 years that we've been doing this and building this out there, the availability and usability of internet marketing has only dramatically increased in that time. And so there's literally never been a better time to use the internet to help you, your business, find deals, find money, do literally everything that we do in real estate. So I'm super, super excited about that. And then what ended up happening was the Buffalo market actually became kind of a bad market to flip in, right? So we started looking at our numbers, and it just wasn't as attractive as it was before. And so we parlayed into buying buy and holds, currently at 30, and the goal is to be at 100 by the end of the year. And in place of that flipping income, I had to do something else to continue building all of this, because I'm not, as wealthy as I am, I'm not wealthy enough to just retire to my island yet. And so we go along, and so 3 Degrees Consulting, whichever side it's on, that side was born. And instead of teaching people how to do internet marketing, which I've spent about 3,500 hours on stage teaching a little over 15,000 people, I said, you know what? Why don't I do it for folks instead? And that's how this was born. And so we've created what I would argue probably some of the best systems, tools, and techniques for digital marketing out there anywhere. And the reason that I can say that confidently is because I arguably know more than just about anybody else in digital marketing in the real estate field specifically.
There you go. So now, Bob, for those that are on the call, those that are listening, you also actually help new investors when they're ready, and I say ready, to build out their own website. At what point in time do you think a new investor would need to come to you for assistance?
Immediately.
Immediately. Okay.
And here's the thing. So we have great tools and systems for investors that are on a budget, or ones that want to really go, I'll say balls to the wall. I don't know how else to say it, but we can kind of make anything work. But as I go through my presentation today, I'm going to talk in detail about that, about how important your web presence is, not just to generating deals online, but to helping all of your marketing, every kind of marketing. I don't care what kind of marketing you're doing, offline, online, anything in between. Any marketing is going to benefit from a great website, because so many people judge your business from nothing but your website before they know you.
Great. Well, Bob, with no further ado, brother, let's get to you. Bob, take it away.
The goal of the presentation is to help you guys turn your current marketing into a deal generation juggernaut. And what I mean by that literally is, most of us understand the importance of marketing, right? Like, we understand that we don't have deals unless we market. It's just not going to happen. Like, I know, I think it was Steven was saying, hey, like, are you getting leads in, but you need someone to call them? Great. Well, a lot of us don't have to understand that we can't even have something like that unless we start with marketing. But the thing that I've been finding lately, and I'd love to know if this is true for you guys, please type in, type in a 1 if this is true, that it's been getting more difficult to find deals in your market. If that's true for you, put a 1. If you're saying, no, it's never been easier, put a 2. I'm curious to see where everyone's falling. But a lot of people that I talk to are having difficulty finding deals. They're having to do more marketing to find less deals. I'm seeing a lot of 1s. Perfect. All right. David's got a 2. So perfect. For most of us, it's going to be the former, right? Like, it's going to be harder to find deals now. And that's simply because the market shifted. And that's part of the cycle, right? Like, when we started doing deals in 2008, 9, 10, like, I could sneeze and pick up a property. Like, literally, it was like, oh, you want to sell your house? How little do you want for it? Like, that's, the negotiation, versus today, very, very different. But as we go through this, we got to understand what can we do differently to build more deals from the marketing that we're already doing without having to spend any more money on additional marketing. Obviously, we can always increase marketing, but if we can increase the effectiveness, we think about marketing as sort of the top of our funnel, everything as we go down is positively impacted by doing that. And I had a little slide about myself, just to recap a couple of things. My company is 3 Degrees Consulting. That's what we do all of our internet marketing activities through. And then Arcane Properties is actually our real estate business, where, again, we flipped houses for a long time. Now we buy rentals, and we're actually getting into commercial properties, doing a lot of mom and pop, 6 unit to 20 unit type properties is what we're looking at buying right now. And actually, I'm in negotiation for potentially owning a hotel down in Tulum. TBD on that. We'll see how it goes. That's a long shot, but always cool things in the works. So here's what we're going to cover and what we're going to learn today. First is, why is your web presence so critical? What about that is going to help you generate more deals as you go forward? We're also going to cover how to use that to your advantage. There are some specific key components, in fact, 10 specific things that we can do to maximize our web presence. Why your follow-up probably sucks. The number one reason that I see right now, without a doubt, like unequivocally, the reason that more people are not getting more deals from their current marketing is their follow-up is terrible. If you increase and do better follow-up, you will get more deals. It's just a matter of a numbers game. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how do you fix that? What do you need to be having in place to make sure you can generate as many deals as possible? So, like I said, I do talk, I'm originally from Buffalo, so I talk a little fast. I try to slow it down for presentations, but if I say something that doesn't make sense, you don't understand, you have a question, just ask. I'm happy to do it. Even though today we're covering a lot about your web presence and follow-up, I do everything digital, right? So if it touches the digital space in the real estate market, you can pretty much assume I'm either doing it, know it, or doing it for someone. But first thing is we need a lot of marketing. In today's market, I don't care what it is that you're doing. I don't care what it is. You need a lot of marketing. And there's a lot of different kinds of marketing. I've listed out here, this was just a list that I could come up with off the top of my head real quick of types of marketing. Now, some of these you're going to look at and go, oh, I'm doing those. Some you're going to look at and go, nope, I'm not doing those. Some you're going to look at and go, I didn't know I could do that. Maybe I need to be. And then some of these you're going to look at this and go, maybe that's good, but too expensive. For example, sports team sponsorships, right? Like you can sponsor the Rams if you want to, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny. May not be in the budget right now. But there's also other things like local sports teams and Angio baseball, Little League baseball, things of that nature, right? But when we look at all this marketing, one of the things that I found as I started helping more and more people is that the kind of marketing they're doing doesn't really matter in terms of one singular factor. When we look at all of this marketing, I found one thing to be true. Every single piece of marketing led a user or potential customer, lender, agent, contractor, seller, buyer, whatever it is, all of this marketing led them back to one singular point, their website for the company that is doing the marketing. Every single time. Now, even if the actual marketing itself didn't lead them to your website, they looked up your company name, they looked up your information, they checked out you, they Googled your name, and they want to see who you are. Okay. And the reason that that is because we are dealing with, in the real estate business especially, a group of people who are talking to you about the most expensive thing that they will probably ever purchase or sell in their entire lifetime. And it's not just like a $10 thing that we're going to go, oh, hey, whatever, like, yeah, you'll work, right? We want to know that we're working with the right kind of company. So what I next found was, okay, if everyone's going to the website, well, what's next? Well, the next thing that most people go to is social media. And they want to understand, do you have the answers to my problems, the ability to solve my problem, the solution that I'm looking for? Do you have anything in place that is going to help me achieve one simple thing with your company? And we might think, well, that one thing is selling my house or buying a house or doing a private lender, but it's not. That one simple thing is actually much deeper than that. And it's this, it's trust. Can I trust that you are going to do the right thing, operate the right way, and execute what you say you're going to do for me? And if I don't trust that you can do that, then guess what? It doesn't matter how good your marketing is. It doesn't matter how many deals you've done. It doesn't matter, all of the rest of the stuff you have in place is irrelevant if I, as a potential customer with you, can't trust that you're the right person for me. So here's the facts that I found as I was going through, and this is why it's so important to have a great website. Okay. First and foremost, 93% of people start their buying decision by searching the web, which means if you're not found on the web, you're already behind on building trust. Okay. Which means if I Google search, at the very least, your company. Now, obviously, ideally, we want to be found for things like we buy houses or sell house fast or things of that nature. That's great too. But at the very least, you have to be found for your actual company name. Otherwise, your credibility immediately tanks. Okay. Number two is that 94% of people base their impression of your business on the design of your site. And one of the things that I see all too often is, especially with bigger companies, they sell you a site that's design is dated. And literally, that's death for your business. If the design is out of date, they're already prejudging your business moving forward. And 75% will actually judge the credibility just from the website alone, nothing else. So this is both terrible, but also a huge opportunity. Okay, if you've done no deals or one deal or two deals, you can be, in fact, more credible than a guy who's done 100 deals if your website's better than the guy with 100 deals. It's as simple as that. And I know it sounds crazy to do that. Now, if you've done 100 deals and you have a great website, then it's even more through the roof. But understand that 75% of people are judging your business on just your website. Now, 40% will actually leave a website if it takes more than 3 seconds to load. This is such an important stat for users that Google now enforces this as well. For example, if your site takes more than 3 seconds to load up the basic content for the page, you're going to notice that your rankings will actually decrease over time. Now, there's ways around that. If any, have ever you put a 1 in if you've noticed, recently, websites seem to be getting longer and longer. Like you load up the homepage and it gets longer and longer. Type a 1, and if you've noticed that that's been happening over the last several years, that, you know, it's like almost like you have to scroll a lot to get through the whole thing. And perfect. It's a bunch of 1s coming in. You want to know why that is? Because if I'm going to be penalized for load time, I might as well load up as much content as possible on the first page so that the user doesn't have a dragged experience. I don't get penalized for the 3-second rule by Google nor the users. So that's why you see that happening. It's a loophole or workaround, if you will. Now, the craziest thing to me is this last stat, which is 38% of people will actively stop browsing a website if it's unattractive. So if your site feels dated and old, almost 40% of users are going to disappear from it immediately. So I don't care what kind of marketing you're doing. If you're doing direct mail, you're doing postcards, you're doing text blasts, voicemail, ringless or regular, you're doing driving for dollars, you're you're doing not postcards, door hangers, you're doing mailbox inserts, you're doing anything, paper, billboard, it doesn't matter. If your website sucks, you're already losing 40% of the business right off the bat, just like that. And so I know if you have a great website, you're going to have 40% more business because you're going to get 40% more views, 40% more at-bats, 40% more people saying, let me actually look at what you have to offer just by having a great website. So there are 10 things to a great website. Write these down. You want to make sure that your site has these, or if you're using a web provider like my company or any company for that matter, make sure that they've built these 10 things in. Okay. So the first is going to be easy navigation. As real estate investors, one of the hardest things that we have to do is we have to actually create content for motivated sellers, retail buyers, investor buyers, private money lenders, agents, contractors, all of these people. And they all want something different from us. Like I can't use the same content for any one of those. And so having a great navigation that makes it easy for someone to find exactly what they want is critical. Again, they will leave their site if it's too difficult. Number 2 is visual design. I think we've already hammered this enough, but make sure your design is good. Design is like cars. It changes every few years, little by little by little. And then about every 3 to 5 years, we have to have a big shift in design change, right? And so it's really important to work with a company that A, not only has a good design already, but B, is on top of what current design trends are. So one of the things that we do for all of our real estate investor sites is we actually automatically push down design updates as time moves on, because I understand how important it is for people to have good design. Number 3 is going to be unique content. Now, unique content in the case of real estate really comes down to one thing: you. You are the uniqueness, because I don't care who you are, what market you operate in. You, along with everyone else in your market, do real estate deals the same exact way, right? I don't care if you're doing subject to, you're going to do it the same way. And the reason for that is because essentially the laws box us in and we have to do it the same way. So there really is no difference between you and any other real estate investor out there and what they're doing outside of what you bring to the table. So you become the uniqueness. Right? Videos of you, content about you, how you operate. What is the thing that makes you awesome? What makes your rehabs different? I don't know what those things are, but if you create that kind of content for your site, it's going to help you stand out from every other investor, even if your site's exactly the same as them. All right. Number 4, it's got to be user-friendly. In other words, can someone actually use it? Easiest test for this is load up your phone or load up your site on your phone and give it to someone who's 70 years of age or older and see if they can use it. If they can't use the site, then it's not user-friendly enough. If they can, then you're probably going to be good for pretty much anyone younger than that, right? Now, not a hard and fast rule, but generally speaking, that's going to be the case in most instances. Number 5 is interaction. Now, interaction means a couple of things. Number 1, video. Video is crushing it on websites, but not the generic BS video that you bought on Fiverr of some girl who's like, hey, we buy houses and we do this. Like, that's not going to work, right? Everyone's seen those videos too many times. Make it you. Make it your team. If you're not comfortable being on there, can you do a voiceover and have other images there? But include something that makes it unique for you, because by doing that, you actually increase the likelihood that they're going to want to work with you. And if they see you on the video, and then you're also the person that shows up at their house after they put their information in your web form, guess what? They go, oh, you're the guy from the video. I know you. Right. And that bridge of trust that we're trying to build can get built a whole lot faster because they've already seen you at an additional touch point, if not more than one. Okay. Interaction also means as they scroll through the page, do things kind of slide in and out? And I don't mean like crazy moving. We don't need anything nuts, but make it interactive in the sense that, hey, if I go down the page, certain things might happen. Images are going to slide in. Those little details, while small and minor, and they don't really necessarily impact the overall big picture, they make someone feel like, oh, I want to keep scrolling. I want to keep seeing what's here, which gives them more information, which means they spend more time on your site, which means they're more likely to convert into an end user for you, or a customer, a buyer, a seller, a private money lender, whatever it's going to be. Okay. So those are the first 5 that are really important. The next 5, information availability. This is a big one that has changed dramatically in the last few years. Most specifically, what I would have taught you even 4 years ago, maybe, was you want to give someone information, but you want to get their information before you give them anything. Well, here's the thing. In real estate specifically, because we all do the same thing, we all offer more or less the same service, right? We can't really hold information hostage and put it behind a gate and say, give me your name and email, or I can't give you information. Now, some information we can, right? Like, obviously, I'm going to need your information if you want a price for your house, because I actually probably need to see the house. At the very least, I need some photos, some pictures, maybe a video walkthrough, something of that nature, right? But if the information is like how to stop foreclosure, or how to navigate the probate process, or something else like that, all right, there's someone else out there who's already giving that information for free. So you need to as well. In fact, what I'm finding right now is that the more information that you give for free, the more you put it out there for someone else to see, the more likely they are to contact you first, because they didn't have to go through all the hoops. People understand how it works now. We get it, right? Oh, put your email in, I'll send you the freebie. Like, we all know how that works. There's very few folks that don't understand that process. And so freely giving information without requiring anything allows for us to do something that no one else is doing right now, which is say, hey, look, here it is. Do what you want with it. And when we give, the law of reciprocity automatically tells them they should be giving back, i.e. contact me, call me, put their information in the web form, whatever it's going to be. Okay. Number 7 is intuitiveness. And this kind of goes along with user-friendly. But again, same goal. Give it to someone who's 70 years or older. Tell them, I want you to do this thing on the website, and watch them do it. If they can't figure it out in like a minute or less, then it's probably not a very intuitive design. Right. And if our design's not intuitive, then that impacts the feeling of the site, which means they're likely to leave and go to someone else whose site was more intuitive than ours. Okay. Number 8 is branding. This I cannot stress enough. Your branding needs to be on point. Like, you notice that I've got a shirt on with my logo on it. I got my logo in my video. All my slides, all the colors are part of our brand, right? Branding is important as a real estate investor. It's one of the things that we can do to be unique. Now, the branding is not going to make someone work with us or not, but it will help them distinguish us from somebody else in the market, because there's a lot of investors out there. Right now, especially, there's a lot of investors that have no branding at all. All right. And the less branding you have, the more illegitimate you seem. The more branding you have, the more legitimate you seem. And so including your branding on things like your website, have your logo, have your colors, use them on your bandit signs, use them on your direct mail marketing, use them everywhere as much as possible. The more branding you put out there, the better your site's going to be perceived. Okay. Number 9, this is a big one that people make a mistake of: conversions. The whole point of someone coming to our website is to convert them into a customer. I want to buy your house from you, sell a house to you, make you a private lender. I want you to convert into a lead for me. So why would your site not have numerous places for conversion? Don't make it difficult for them to have to go hunt and find how to actually become a customer with your business. You'll notice if you look at any of the sites that we design, we use something that I've developed called conversion science. So I actually went through and said, what is the science? What is the idea behind converting? And not just the actual technical aspects of like, okay, I put my information in, it goes to a form, that goes to my CRM, it's something like that stuff is all great. But what is the actual science of where eye movement goes? How can I use NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, to speak to someone's subconscious within a site itself? So we do things, for example, like anytime I've got a conversion point, which is a form, a button that leads to a form or a phone number, I either have bright contrasting colors or I have angles with colors pointing towards the actual call to action. And little things like this, while they seem tiny, make a big difference in someone's subconscious, which increases overall lead conversion, which makes the site more effective. And number 10 is credibility. Obviously, if you've done 0 deals, don't lie and say, oh, I've done a bunch of things, right? But as you do things, as you train more, as you get more deals, as you actually participate in this game of real estate, right? Include the things that you're doing in your site, so that people understand that you are credible. You've put the time in, even just by being on trainings like this. Let's say you attend just 10 of these trainings a year, right? So once a month, let's call it once a month, so 12 a year. You've now already put in 12 hours of education that someone else hasn't. And that doesn't include all the other things you watch, every video that you do, all of that increases your credibility. So let folks see what you're doing and how you're doing it. It's going to be important. Now, once you have these 10 things built into your site, or you buy one from someone who's already done it for you, next up is to link your site on every social profile. Don't make it difficult to find. Literally every single social profile should have a link to your site, or should have a link to like a link tree or a LinkedIn profile or things like that that has a link to your website. Okay. And you should be on every single social media platform, every single one. Now, real quick, do you need to be participating in all of them all the time? No. But at the very least, go to every one of the platforms that you see on the screen right here, and I want you to go claim your real estate. Imagine it's like the Oregon Trail, land rush, where it's like, you just have to get out here, get a stake, shove it in the ground, and the land is yours. Same idea on social media. If you go to any one of these profiles, any single one, right, you're going to find me at the Bob McIntosh, and put that in the chat. Because the moment that I find out that there's a new social media app out there, I immediately log in and I create an account and I put the same username in. Now, do I use most of these? No. You'll find me mostly on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok right now, and somewhat YouTube. The rest could care less about, to be honest. But you will find me on all those. And the reason for that is that everyone has their own preference of the network that they prefer to use. And because of that, we want to have our location on all of them so that if they look us up on that one, they still can get to our website, which we've done the work to make amazing. Okay. So you've got a great website. You got all your social media linked up. Usually the next thing that people go is, okay, but then what? What's next? Right? That doesn't get me deals. That doesn't actually make anything happen. So usually what we need to start doing is capturing people's information, nurturing them, and eventually closing some of them into, again, people that we buy houses from, sell houses to, wholesale deals that we do, or private money lenders, contractors, agents, whatever it is. We close them into working with our business in some capacity, right? But what most investors do is they build a great website, they link up on their social media, and then they sit there and they do this and they go, well, why aren't the leads coming in? I set up a website, I set up my social media, how come I don't have any leads? And the answer is, it was never designed to generate leads. Your web presence doesn't matter unless you're actively marketing. The old adage of if you build it, they will come is no longer true. Now it's if you build it, nobody cares, because there's a trillion upon trillion upon trillion websites on Google, and there's thousands of other investors in your market doing the same thing as you are. So no one's going to really care unless you make the effort to drive folks to the site and utilize what I just told you about creating a great site to close more people from there. So what this really means is we have to use other forms of marketing out there, and then we have to increase our follow-up within that marketing. And this is where most people miss the mark. They do some marketing, but they don't follow up. Specifically right now, what I'm seeing based on my research is that it takes an average of 14 touch points for someone to convert into from a seller to selling you a house. An average of 14. That's almost doubled in my time of doing real estate. It used to be 7. Now, those 14 can be spread across, direct mail, a phone call, a website visit, a social media profile visit, right? It doesn't have to be 14 of the same thing, but it takes on average about 14 touch points before someone's going to convert, especially as sellers. So a lot of you typed in 1 when I asked if you were struggling getting more deals. So I would ask also this, for those of you who put a 1 in that it's more difficult to find deals right now, I want you to put a 1 in if you are following up less than 14 times with the average seller that you're doing marketing for. Put a 1 in if you're doing less than 14 touch points on average. Okay. And my guess is we're going to see a bunch of 1s come in here. Yeah, we're already seeing it, right? So this is where we have to do things the right way. And so I know that I can confidently say I can turn your marketing into a deal generation juggernaut. If you simply increase the amount of follow-up, you will get more deals. Guaranteed, 100% guaranteed. In fact, I'd be willing to bet if you take all of your current marketing and you implement no less than 14 touch points post-marketing, and you do not see more deals come in, come find me and talk to me directly, and I will coach you one-on-one to help you get there. Because they guaranteed, you will. Right? If you increase the number of frequency of touch points, you will get more deals. But for most of us, the ability to do that becomes problematic because it's like, okay, Bob, well, I sent out 1,000 mail pieces. Now you're telling me I got to send 14 touch points. That's 14,000 touch points. Ain't nobody got time for that. Right? That's usually what most people think. So we have to implement automated follow-up sequences to increase the frequency of touch points so that we as investors don't have to wear the 14,000 person follow-up hat. We can go wear the hat to get money, do more marketing, do other things like that. And so that's where the follow-up trifecta comes in. These are the three things that you can do to increase both automatically frequency and effectiveness of your follow-up. So number one is going to be SMS. Why? Because it has 98% open rate. 98%. We'll talk about some more SMS stats here in a minute. But SMS means text messaging. I'm going to get into more detail about that here in a minute. Number two is email. I don't care what anybody says. Email marketing is not dead. In fact, it is still out there crushing it even better than it has in a long time. Okay. And number three is going to be automation. So taking all of our follow-up, no matter what it looks like, and automating it as much as possible. Okay. So as I go through this, what does that look like? Number one, SMS. You need to have a system that allows for two-way text marketing. That means you can text them, they can text you back, you can respond, they can respond, and you can carry on a conversation with text. This is super important. Why? Very simple. 91% of consumers would opt in for text messaging from brands. Let that sink in for a second. 91%. Okay. 58% believe that SMS is the most effective way for brand communication. That means they would prefer. And by the way, this number is only increasing as the younger generation that grew up and utilizes text increases. Now, I know for some of us, we're like, ugh, really? But guess what? That's the way it's going. So we have to follow suit. Americans check their phone an average of 47 times a day. Customers find appointment reminders to be the most valuable text, which means that they will opt in for text marketing if it also includes appointment reminders. Well, what do we do in real estate? Almost always, everything we do is going to be appointment based, right? Hey, let's set an appointment to see your house, to look at your house, to talk about that deal, to go look at it, like whatever it's going to be. We use appointments. So we can get them to opt in for that and then also use it for other marketing. And the average click-through rate for SMS marketing is 19.3% versus less than 2% for email. So you ask me, why do I need to be on text? That's it. But here's some other crazy stats. 34% of people will read their text within 5 minutes, 26% within 1 minute, and 10% within 30 seconds. That means right there, almost 60% of people will see your text within 5 minutes. All right. Put a 1 in the chat right now if you got a text message from JJ about this call. How many of you guys, all right, I want you to also put a 5 in if you checked your text from JJ about this call or anything with this call in under 5 minutes. Put a 5 in if you checked in under 5 minutes. Perfect. So here's the thing, guys. People do this. It's not just us. It's not just someone else. It's not just one person over the other. It's everyone. We all do this stuff. We all make this work. We all operate in this way. And it's huge. And by the way, if you look at the next chart, there are literally almost 70% of people say that they are extremely likely or likely to interact with a brand via text. So if we don't have two-way text marketing, you are missing out on making all of your other marketing work phenomenally. Okay, next, email marketing. Right now, a lot of people say email marketing is dead. I completely disagree. In fact, the pandemic revived email marketing at a level we've not seen in a while. Okay, a couple of interesting facts. The average ROI in 2021 for $1 spent on email marketing is $46. Where else are you going to find a $46 ROI? Or like a 46x ROI? That's insane. Okay, so email marketing works. Don't say it doesn't. I know it does, right? 21% is the average open rate. The welcome email has an open rate of 82%. That means the first email that they get from you is going to be open to 82% of the time. So what does that mean for us? Well, that means that we should never push our most important messaging to the last email or down the road. Your most important messaging should be in the first email because it's going to have the highest open rate. Okay. Next, adding a video to your email can increase the click-through ratio by 300%. Right? So add some form of video. Now, it doesn't have to be a unique video to each person, but add a video of like, hey, trying to sell your house in XYZ city. I made a video on the exact process. Go check it out here. Include a link. Boom, they go off and they can see it from there. Right? That's how you're going to get more deals from your current marketing. All right. Next is going to be automation. So Building out follow-up sequences that you can reuse and rinse and recycle for as many people as possible, or at the very least include a series of follow-up texts and emails, is how you're going to increase to those 14 touch points. Again, if you have to be responsible for doing that, it's probably not going to happen. But if you can have it built out or build it out yourself, and then know that every day for the next 30 days, they're going to get a touch point from you. Now they've got 30 touch points instead of 14. Your likelihood of closing a deal is going to dramatically increase with whatever marketing that you're currently doing. And so you have to build follow-up sequences using a CRM to help you automate the entire process. Okay. So there are some do's and don'ts when it comes to automated follow-up. So walk through these. First, automate it and follow up on a consistent basis. Should be a consistent basis. How much? We'll talk about here in a minute. Automate actions for users whenever possible. What does that mean? That means if they click on something, if they do or take a specific action, you should change that. You should build in an automation that changes their status as, hey, they took this specific action or this specific thing, or they did this thing, in order to automate the rest of the actions that follow up after that. Keep it brief. When it comes to any sort of email, all right, it should be no more than 2 scrolls on your phone. Write this down. That's about 250 words. That's all you get. No one cares for more than that. If you have more than that to say, put it on a web page and direct them from the email to the page, but don't do it in the email. If you're a text message, you have 160 characters. That's it, right? 160, including spaces, by the way. Right, and whatever link or anything else. So you have 160. That's it. Keep it brief, and send more marketing that links to other places versus longer marketing. If you can, personalize it. So drop in their name, their address, their, whatever you can for them. Drop that information, and it will certainly help. Okay. Include a clear call to action. So if you're going to market to someone, let them know how they take action on the information you're providing. What does that look like? What does it need to look like? Do you need to click? Do you need to call? Do you need to fill out a form? Make it clear. Don't assume that they know what's supposed to be going on, because more often than not, they don't. And then make it easy to exit. Whatever system you use should allow for people to unsubscribe or stop getting marketing communication. If you don't do that, you will find yourself in hot water with the FCC. I don't want that for you. Okay. Things you should not be doing. Don't use images. More images equals more spammy in most email programs. That means Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, Outlook, Microsoft, any of the major providers. The more pictures you put into your emails, right, to try to make them all pretty and nice looking, the more likely they are to be marked as spam. So if you're a new marketer, you're just doing this, just keep it simple. In fact, the only image I will usually put in an email is my logo. And more often than not, I might put it at the top if it's small enough. But a lot of times in marketing emails, I will put it at the bottom if they don't know who I am. Why? Because they don't care about my logo. They care about the information in the email. So keep it short and to the point. Don't use misleading subject lines. Right? This is an actual real story. I had a guy email me one time marketing. He says, why I had to kill my dad. I was like, what? Got my attention, opened the email, and then had absolutely nothing to do with the email content at all. Just like that, unsubscribed. Why? Because that's ridiculous. I'm fine with a catchy title as long as whatever's in the email matches that. So don't use misleading subject lines. Don't use too many, as Steven says, clickbaity headlines. There's a level of clickbait you can use. Don't go too far, though. Okay, don't ever publish your emails or text messaging without checking it first. If you're doing a new sequence, you should be the first person to opt in, so that if there's a problem, you'll get it first. You can fix it before anyone else does. Ask me how I know this. Okay, trust me. Always test your stuff first. Automate personal touches. So if you have, a private money lender and you want to send them a happy birthday message, you can do that automatically, so long as you have their birthday in the system, right? So little things like that go a far way to helping you stay in touch. But I get that for most of us, we have so many contacts, it becomes difficult for us to do that manually. So automating those personal touches is going to help us look better, and it's going to help us stay in better contact with folks as we go. Don't forget to clean your data. If you have a list of 100,000 people, but only 1,000 of them are opening your emails, you'd be better to have a list of 1,000 people and get rid of the other 99,000. The reason being is that all of the major email providers track your total open rate from your emails on your domain. And the lower that goes, the more likely they are to push you into spam. Okay. And so you better to just clean your data up. Make sure it's good, it's clean. If someone doesn't want your stuff anymore, let them go. They were never going to buy or sell or do anything to you anyways. Doesn't matter. If they want it back in, they can always get back in later. Next is don't ever skip A/B testing. Most great marketing programs will allow you to send a message, like a text message or an email, to a portion of your list. See which portion opens it the most, click through the most, what has the best response rate, and then send that one to the rest of your list. It's a great way to dramatically increase your open rates. And when you do that, you dramatically increase your amount of deals that you're going to get. Okay. And then don't forget to segment. Everyone should be whoever they're supposed to be, right? So buyers are buyers, sellers are sellers, agents are agents, contractors are contractors, because we have to speak to all of these folks differently, and they should all be getting unique messages themselves. So when we look at follow-up sequences, what kinds of things should we be automating within a good CRM to make sure that we are maximizing all of the marketing that we have? And I'm going to walk you through what all of these look like. First and foremost, private money lenders. Most of us could use more money to fund deals, right? So do they need documents? Do you have deals that you need money for? Do you have deals that they missed out on? One of my favorite things is as soon as I get a deal funded and it's closed, I will send an email to my entire list saying, hey, just closed another one with my private money lenders. You missed out on the opportunity. Obviously, I'll word it a little bit nicer than that. But the point is, I want folks to know that we're doing things so that the next time I call them with a deal, they're like, oh man, I got to get on this. Otherwise, I'm going to miss out like I missed the last one. Okay. I send out an annual email to all of my private money lenders. And I say, hey, Arcane Properties was proud to pay $237,242.39 in interest in 2021. Right. Now, someone might go, that's insane. But if we look at how much real estate I was able to buy with that money, right, it makes people feel good. And they also love to see as we go along how much we're doing. And because we're doing so much, right, it makes them more trusting of us with their money in the future. Okay. And then daily happenings. What are you buying? What are you selling? What are you seeing happen? Anything that they might need to worry about, especially if they've already got money lent with you, all of these things. Now, at the end of this, I put long, forever. Private money lenders should never stop getting emails from you. There shouldn't be a 10-day sequence and then that's it, right? There might be a 10-day sequence, but then they're going to start getting emails from you literally forever. As long as you are in business, you should continue to email your private money lenders. Next, sellers. You should be talking about why you are trustworthy. Why should they want to work with you versus any other investor in your market? How does the process work? Right? Is there something that you've done to make it easier? Can you take something on for them? Do you offer them movers as part of the process? Do you, whatever, right? Like what makes you different and unique? What are the benefits of working with your company versus someone else, right? How do they get a hold of you? Make sure every email to sellers especially has your contact information, name, email, phone number, social media handles, all of it should be there so that however they want to contact you, they can do that. Okay. Now, in this case, there's going to be two sequences. Usually you're going to have a short sequence for the first 30 days. This sequence, we're going to hit them a lot, right? Generally speaking, almost once a day, I'm going to talk to a seller. If they're in a foreclosure situation or a pre-foreclosure or any other sort of time-sensitive situation, in those cases, I'm going to hit them even more frequently. I might even hit them twice a day or 3 times a day, because if I run out of time with them, the deal is done anyway. So I might as well hit them as many times as possible to get it done in the time frame. And then there might be long-term ones. So anything greater than 30 days. These are going to be your folks that are like high equity out-of-state owners, right? They may not need to sell right now, right? They got a lot of equity. Maybe it's a good cash flowing property, whatever it is. But when they're ready to sell, you want them thinking of you. And so these folks, I'm going to continue to talk to you in my sequence, maybe once or twice a month. But again, for the next 30, 60, 90, 120 days at the bare minimum, usually I will continue to market to someone who's got a property that I might want, literally until they either unsubscribe or it's sold to someone else. And then I'll try to get that person's information and I'll market to them until they want to sell it to me, right? You're either going to unsubscribe or die. That's kind of how I look at this as we go along. All right, next up, agents. This is a huge, huge, huge thing. So I know a lot of us talk about, it's hard to find deals on the MLS, and that's true. That's because most of us are going to the MLS to look for deals. And right now, by the time it hits the MLS, it's already too late, right? Now everyone else knows about it. It's too late. I've found in my history, and we have, by the way, about 2,900 agents on our email list in Buffalo. I found that on average, a good agent, and not all 2,900 are good, there's probably about 15 or 20 that are good, will bring me one deal, like one great deal every 2 years. And a good agent will bring me an average deal about once a year, right? So great deal every 2 years, a good deal about once a year on average. Now, I have a couple of agents that far, far exceed that. And then 99% of the list brings me like no deals at all ever. Okay. But understand that agents, if we can be marketing to them so that when they get a house under contract, before it hits the MLS, they're already thinking of us, we've got a better shot of closing that deal. Okay. So a couple of things that are important to talk to agents about, especially is how can you save them time, right? What do you do to save them time or help them waste less of their time? Okay. How much money can they make per transaction? With our agents, we let them know you bring us a deal, you get the commission when we buy it. Then we will also give you first right of refusal to sell it on the back end. So they know they're going to get double transaction. And then in most cases, we also say, look, if you bring us both sides, even better, you can keep all the money, right? Because I've already factored in the full commission at 5 or 6%, right? I've already factored that into my deal, so I know it works. I don't care who the money goes to. It's already been accounted for. If it goes to them and they bring me more deals, albeit, let's do it. Okay. What things can you do for them, right? Do you take on the ugly houses, the ones that have a lot of things wrong? Like we became known initially when we first started as the fire damage guys. Several of our first houses were fire damaged properties. Most people were like, nope, I don't even want to touch it. We were like, bring it on, let's do it, right? So we became known that way. And so when someone had a fire damaged house, they called us first. Okay. So what can you do for them? Why should they care? And most agents should be on our list forever. They should be getting communication from us forever. In this case, the initial touch point should be about once every 3 or 4 days for the first month so that they really get to know who you are. And then at least once, maybe twice a month from then on, again, forever. Okay. Next up, investor buyers. So these people are people who might want to buy wholesales from you because no matter, even if wholesaling is not your intention, every once in a while, you're going to get a deal that comes across your plate that just doesn't make sense for you. You don't have time. It's a little bit outside your area, whatever it is, right? There might be a reason you want to wholesale it. So connecting with other investors is great. Let them know what deals you've got going on. Do you have rental opportunities? Do you have any kind of opportunity? It could be lending opportunities even, right? But these emails need to be short and to the point. Don't get overly wordy with investors. We as investors simply don't care. We don't have time. I'm not going to read your 800-word email, right? Short, to the point, sweet. And they should be getting marketed to forever. Okay. Next up, contractors. Why are they going to make money with you? Most contractors that I've dealt with, most of them, that's the most important thing. They want to know, how am I going to get paid? How is working for you and giving you lower than average rates going to actually make me more money? Talk about how you do your scope of work. Show them some example scope of works that either you've done or that you have through whatever education program you're a part of. Okay. Talk about how you're not going to make changes, right? Once the plan is set, you know, obviously barring like some crazy structural issue where you open up a wall and find something you didn't know about or things like that, of course. But, you know, in most cases, the plan's the plan and we're going to stick to the plan. Okay. Also talk about how you're going to keep them busy. In most cases, this is going to be less than 30 days. If they're not willing to come on board and at least meet with you in the first 30 days of communication, they're probably never going to come on board. In that case, move on, find somebody else. Okay. And then last but not least, this is one that a lot of investors don't do. This is affiliate services. These are things that you can sign up for and get paid a percentage of the sale happening on the back end, but not have to do any delivery of the actual work or service or product. Okay. So for example, let's say you sell, you're flipping houses. Great. Well, do you know a good house cleaning company that you can refer? Well, every time they sign up a new client, guess what? You can get paid. Do you have a pool? Okay. Your house is a pool. Great. Call a pool cleaning company. If they sign up for the service, you can get paid. Okay. If you're an agent, you can get paid a referral fee. If you're not, you can't closing, but there's other ways around that. Okay. There's lots of different services that we can sign up for that homeowners and sellers, movers, all this, right? So think about these things. So let them know how you help them and what affiliates you work with. All right. I want you guys right now, how many of you from your bank got an email from your bank ever at any point in time offering some form of insurance? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever gotten an email from your bank offering you insurance services of any capacity. All right. Perfect. Seeing some ones come in. Guess what? That's an affiliate service. Your bank is not an insurance provider, but they certainly know a bunch of them and they work with them. And so they will send an email out to their customers because they know that banking customers will often buy insurance, right? And it works all the time. So they send out emails to let you know what they got going on. Okay. So sellers, what do they need to know? Can you get movers, cleaners, rental trucks, boxes, anything like that? Okay. Lenders. Okay. A lot of times, guys, we can make money by referring private money to other people that we know, whether it be private lenders or even hard money lenders or any sort of lender for that nature, right? So I have a couple of lenders that I work with, and if I'm able to secure a loan they're able to secure a loan with someone that I referred to them, I get anywhere between a 0.5 point and 1 point of the loan just for making the referral. Now, someone might not know that I have a great lender unless I tell them via the communication. Okay. Contractors, right? Look, people refer out contractors all the time, especially if you have good ones. So it's a great way for you to make money. Agents, another way, right? Affiliate services should be included in all of your sequences pretty much forever, so long as it makes sense in the rest of the sequence that's going on. Okay. Now, if you do all of this, if you've bought into the idea that I need to increase the frequency of my touch points, I need to have more follow-up, right? I need to automate my follow-up. The next thing is making sure you have a great system. And this is something that we can help you with. We have a CRM designed to help you do all of the things I just talked to you about doing, right? Most specifically is having a centralized place to manage all the communication with all the people that you're emailing, texting, and marketing, so that when they respond to you, you don't have to log into 15 different places to find them. So having a centralized repository of all your contacts, all their information, and everything that's going on is huge. One of the other things that we can do for you in our CRM is we've already pre-built many of those sequences that I just talked to you about, and we are building the rest as we go along. So anyone who's in our system will always be getting the latest and greatest follow-up sequences that we develop as we develop them, pushed directly into their account. So if you're like, Bob, that sounds great, but I don't have time to write all those emails. Well, guess what? We've already got emails for agents, cash buyers, contractors, and sellers. There's private money lender emails coming out now, and we have investor buyer and like wholesale emails coming out, as well as many others. And then for a lot of us, having tracking of what's actually going on becomes a critical component. So as we grow our business, right, we might have lots of lead sources, people answering phones, what conversations are happening, what text messages, all this. So tracking the marketing that's working for you becomes super important when you increase your follow-up to this level, because not all follow-up and not all marketing is going to work the same. You might find that while your cost for doing direct mail is the highest of any marketing, it's also producing the worst leads. So it's actually not worth it. Maybe you find that actually bandit sign calls coming in is where I'm getting more deals than anything else. So I need to do more bandit signs and less direct mail. But I wouldn't know that unless I have something to track how all of my marketing is working, and more specifically, what follow-up I have and how that's operating and how that's working and what I'm doing. Okay. So this is how we start building follow-up systems, guys. If you implement all of this stuff, I know it sounds crazy, but if you do it, you will close more deals guaranteed, right? And so that's it. That's what I got, right? So if you are interested in having my team build for you the website, or you're interested in our CRM, we offer 2 weeks of a free trial of the CRM. The website for new investors starts at $400 one time. That's it. It's a very inexpensive site because I want to have something that works. And then we also, for the site, there's $97 a month in hosting and service. We include 5 hours of changes a month. One of the more important things that I want you guys to do is not focusing on being a web designer and developer and coder. I want you out there doing this follow-up, doing deals, doing marketing. So we take care of your site for you, so you never have to log into it ever again if you don't want to. Right. So if you're interested in anything of that nature, just send me an email or follow up with me on social media. More than happy to talk to you guys in detail about what that looks like. But guys, whether you use me or not doesn't matter. Implement what I just told you in your site if you're not using me, and implement a CRM from somebody, even if it's, again, not me. Implement it with somebody with those follow-up sequences that I just gave you. If you do all that, I promise you your marketing will deliver you more deals, guaranteed, because there's no way it doesn't, because most of us just simply aren't doing enough follow-up.
Bob, fantastic.
Thank you.
You got to speed it up a little bit, though. I'm kidding.
By the way, I try to slow it down. Sorry if I go too fast.
I know you got a lot of content to cover, and it's really informative. And obviously, people taking notes is great. And guess what? They can watch the video over and over again. because it's going to be on YouTube. So when you watch the video, guys, please like Bob's video, please comment on the video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But before we move on, Bob, the website's about reaching people, and this is my group is a networking group. But really quick, before you step away, I wanted you to touch on networking and what importance do you think networking plays in the success of an investor's business, whether they're new or experienced?
Absolutely. So networking. I can't stress enough how important it is. So let me just tell you a little story about what networking has done for me and what it's currently actively, literally right now doing for me. So I know some of you have probably seen me at Fortune Builder, some of you not. Maybe you've seen a couple of my videos. For any of you who are in Fortune Builders, if you were a part of Mind Protein or ever have been, I was the one that developed most of the content and the live in-person training before I left in 2018. Okay. So since then, I've been actively networking and building relationships with people like JJ and many of you on this call and many of you that I've never met before. I'd love to meet you guys either in person or not. So about a month ago or so, I was at an event in South Carolina and I spoke briefly at that event. And what ended up happening was I networked with a bunch of people and they then invited me to come speak at their events. And so then I said, you know what? I love speaking. I love being on stage. I love sharing. I love doing things like this, right? I want to do a road trip where I drive around and I go to all of these local places because we haven't been able to for 2 years. I want to drive around and I want to speak in as many stages as possible, as soon as possible. And I kid you not, simply just through networking, because I'm out there all the time using my social media, using my website, using all of this digital stuff to get my name out there. I am now currently booked basically through the end of the year, pretty much every week speaking someplace to some group somewhere across the rest of the country, just because of networking. Now, you might go, Bob, I don't care about speaking. But the point is this, all of these contacts wouldn't have worked out for me if I wasn't out there actively participating, being seen. I like how JJ says it, you either seen or you're invisible, or if you're not visible, you're invisible. I think that's what you say, right?
Yep.
And it's so true. Being out there and not just on your webpage, but look, your CRM too is a way to be seen without actually being seen. Imagine if everyone's birthday that you had in there, you could send them a text that says happy birthday and you didn't have to remember. Because I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm bumping up against the 5,000. Like I've been at 5,000 on my Facebook profile for years now, right? And every once in a while I remove folks, but when I remove them, I don't always get notified about their birthday. So I don't always know who's what. But imagine for a second that I could text every person I ever meet a happy birthday, just simply as that. Right? If I simply did that, how many more opportunities would come my way? How many more folks would have money to lend to me, would see me doing things and offer me? But yeah, that's absolutely, it's a huge, huge thing. And Tori, to answer your question, I don't have an RV, I just have a regular car. And I just another great point. I've networked with so many people in every place I go to. I've either got friends that live there. So like right now I'm in Arlington, Massachusetts at a friend's place that we were freshman year college roommates and we still talk and hang out and got to go see him. But if I go to places I don't know someone like that, I reach out and I say, who's got an Airbnb in the area? Because if I'm going to spend money, I would rather spend it with my friends and people that I know and my contacts than some random stranger. Not that I don't want them to have it, right? I'm going to pay for it one way or another, but I'd rather pay somebody I know if I have the opportunity to. And so networking has allowed that to happen for me too. Like again, and not even planned in that story, but 100% true. Perfect, Tori. I might have to hit you up. Although I'm booked for the rest of the year, so it might have to be summertime. I don't do cold. Just don't do cold. Sorry.
Great. Yeah. No, Bob. Networking is so important, and one of the things I actually go over in this group, not to the extent that you do, but how to help people tweak their personal Facebook page and not have to go touch it again. That it has their social media links, it says things about them, identifies their real estate education program, part of the country, their Facebook business page, and that they put the visual aspects to it because it has an option for a profile photo and a cover photo. And if they're not being visible, since Facebook's a visual platform, that they're not maximizing their opportunities, because networking leads to in some amount of credibility, but more importantly, networking leads to visibility, and visibility leads you to opportunity. So if you're not networking, you have opportunities that are just walking past you faster than the speed of light, more than you can imagine, like the stars in the sky. So, Bob, thank you so much for all the value you brought today. Love having you here. Wish we could get you here more often, but we're always honored to have you when you're available. Bob's video, we can follow you on Instagram, right?
Yep. Every place you can find me, I'm at the Bob McIntosh, literally Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Clubhouse, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, all of the profiles.
Fantastic. So if you guys are on the call, hang on tight. We're going to go to the breakout rooms in just a minute, which is live networking. For all of you that are watching the YouTube channel, we do live networking every week, twice a week, building real relationships. And then we're going to go to the Q&A and bring more value. And on behalf of Bob and myself, thank you guys for stopping by. Love you guys. Please check in again. We got more great speakers coming up. Over now. Peace out. Sub 2, Pace Morby. Love that guy. Bye.